Hello. Today we'll take a look at a game that ended quite quickly. It ended basically in 10 moves, though White did try to fight on, and it was all because of the opening, basically. The opening, it was a pretty dubious gambit, the Albin counter gambit, but keep in mind, whenever the engine says like +07 or something, it's only the evaluation if both sides play perfectly, which is definitely not the case in most cases. So here, White should take the pawn. Black plays d4, this is his point. And in general, the point of the gambit is that Black took some space here, technically, and his point is to take back this pawn and claim that he has more space and an advantage like that, though it doesn't really work out in general. And also Black has a couple of tricks with this pawn and this check, as we will see. Knight f3, normal move, knight c6. And the main trick of this opening, I think, is after e3, there is this check. If there wasn't this check, then this would kind of make sense. Black would have to kind of take. We can exchange queens, take back here, develop quite sensibly. But whenever we're out of book, we always have to start thinking. We always have to start calculating. And of course, pawn to e3 is a very normal move, but it might work, it might not work. It all depends on the concrete circumstances. And here, if Black has a check, we have to see this check. And as we will see, the problem with this check is that after whatever blocks here, Black will be able to recapture on e3, destroying our structure. So Black did this. This was his whole point. Oftentimes, the bishop might not even be defended, and the knight might be on g1. In that case, the tactic also works. For example, we can go back. If e3 here, knight bishop b4 takes here. And if we take the hanging bishop, this is a nice line. Black takes here. We can go here to continue protecting the queen, but now Black can promote to a knight and then skewer the king and the queen. So this is basically the main idea of the opening. It's a tricky opening, let's say it like that. It's not sound. So what happened in the game is quite similar. And here White has to recapture and play with this structure, which is not very comfortable. Black should basically equalize, for example here. He can exchange queens, or even just aim to take back his pawn. And Black has basically no problems because White's extra pawn is basically here. Instead in the game, White for some reason decided to just give away a pawn with check. And now here it's not even related to the opening anymore. We just have a position. We can see that White has a couple of candidate moves we basically have to take here. Because here Black is able to take a pawn with check and keep the pawn on f2 at least for the time being and recapture the bishop later. So all this happened. White continued development. Now clearly Black is better, he has a pawn advantage. The pawn might drop down, but he is a lot better developed. This e5 pawn is weak and basically Black can consider himself a pawn up. Now White played a3, which seems like a waste of time since the knight wasn't doing anything here anyway. And White's problem is that he's undeveloped. He has to finish development as soon as possible, take this pawn, play bishop e2, rook d1, and hope for the best, though the position is not great. But after a3, the problems become bigger. Knight c6, Black was going to take this pawn anyway, so this move doesn't help. And not much happened from here. Black realized his advantage quite well. The rook came to d2. Black took one pawn. Black took on e2 and played knight d3. There were other moves to play as well. He can take on c4 at any point. He can even take on b2, destroying the structure, like this. And a couple moves later, White had enough, and he resigned since he's a knight down. So of course, White could have fought on after blundering in the opening, but of course it is difficult psychologically to play such positions. It's better to learn your openings before playing them. But of course this is a typical lesson. White should now go and study this opening, which is called the Albin counter gambit. Because at this beginner level, tricky openings like this are quite common, and we have to be prepared for them, or we will keep losing like this. So there we go.